What if the drink you trust every morning was born from fear, fire, and an accident no one meant to discover? Before coffee woke the modern world, it was a mysterious red berry that made goats dance, monks panic, and rulers fear ordinary people talking together. Imagine a quiet morning. The room is still done with sleep. Water is heating. A cup is waiting. Soon, the dark smell of coffee rises into the air. For many people, coffee is just a habit, a small comfort, a warm beginning. Some drink it before work, some drink it while studying, some drink it in a quiet cafe beside a window. But to one quiet learner of world history, that cup never feels ordinary. And behind it are farmers, monks, merchants, sailors, kings, workers, thinkers, and people who simply wanted to stay awake long enough to pray, talk, speak, or dream. Every day, people drink more than 2 billion cups of coffee. A student is trying to stay awake. A worker is preparing for a long day. A writer is searching for one good sentence. A farmer is picking coffee cherries under the sun. Coffee gives energy, but it also gives time. Time to think, time to speak, time to imagine. Welcome to English Mindwave. Before this story begins, please subscribe to the channel. Your support helps this channel continue creating meaningful stories for people who want to learn English through history, culture, economics, politics, and the hidden forces that shape our world. So here is the question. How did one small red berry become one of the most important drinks in human history? It was not invented by a king. It did not begin inside a laboratory. It was not designed by a company. It began with a curious man, restless goats, and a mistake that smelled too beautiful to ignore. To find that beginning, the story travels far from the modern cafe, back to the green highlands of Ethiopia. More than 1,000 years ago, there lived a young goatherd named Kaldi. He was not powerful. He did not command armies or write laws. He simply walked through the hills with his goats as the days rose and fell with the sun. But sometimes, history does not choose the loudest person in the room. Sometimes, it chooses the one who notices. Kaldi knew his goats well, and so when they suddenly began to jump, run, and move with wild energy, he stopped. Something was different. The goats were not just playful. They seemed awake in a way he had never seen before, as if the mountain itself had filled them with a secret fire. Kaldi followed them and saw the source. Bright red berries growing on a dark green bush. A careless person might have walked away. But Kaldi was curious. He tasted the berries and soon felt new energy move through his body. His mind became clear. His tiredness lifted. The little fruit seemed to hold a power no one around him had understood. So he brought the berries to a nearby monastery. The monk who saw them did not welcome the discovery. He feared it. This strange energy seemed suspicious, maybe even dangerous. In fear, he threw the berries into the fire. Then the mistake became the miracle. A warm, rich aroma filled the room. The monks paused. What they had feared now invited them closer. They pulled the roasted seeds from the fire, crushed them, mixed them with hot water, and drank the dark liquid. That night, they stayed awake through prayer. Coffee was not born from certainty. It was born from attention, fear, fire, and the courage to become curious again. But coffee did not become powerful all at once. It had to travel, be tested, and find a deeper purpose in another land. Across the Red Sea, in Yemen, the small bean entered the world of Sufi holy men during the 1400s. These were people who searched for closeness with God through prayer, silence, music, discipline, and long nights of devotion. For them, the darkness of night was not empty. It was a sacred space, a time when the noise of the world became softer and the heart could listen more clearly. But even the most devoted person grows tired. The long hours of prayer needed strength, and coffee offered something rare. It kept the body calm, but made the mind awake. Before coffee became common, many people drank wine or beer because clean water was not always easy to trust. Those drinks could relax the body, but they could also slow the mind. Coffee helped people stay alert without losing control. The Sufis did not simply drink it. They shaped it. They roasted the beans in small pans over open fire, and they listened for the crackle. They watched the color darken. They followed the smell as if it were a language. Sometimes the beans burned. Sometimes the taste was too bitter. But each mistake taught them something. Slowly, coffee became Qahwa, a drink of strength. This is where coffee changed from discovery into culture. A berry became a ritual. A ritual became a shared habit. And a shared habit became something traders, towns, and rulers would soon notice. Because once a drink helps people stay awake, gather, and think, it is no longer just a drink. It becomes a force moving quietly through society. And when that quiet force moved from prayer rooms into crowded streets, coffee began to do something that made rulers nervous. It taught people to gather, and by the 1500s, coffee had reached Mecca, one of the great spiritual and commercial centers of the Islamic world. There, small coffee houses opened. Inside them, the drink became more than warmth in a cup. It became a reason to sit together. This is where the story becomes political. In those rooms, people did not only drink, they talked. Merchants discussed prices and journeys. Travelers brought news from faraway places. Poets shared words. Musicians played. Men played games, told stories, laughed, argued, and listened. A coffee house was not a palace, not a university, not a government office, but it became a place where information moved from mouth to mouth. And information is never powerless. A single cup could keep one person awake, but a room full of cups could keep a whole conversation alive. When people gather, they begin to compare their lives. They begin to question decisions. Private thoughts can become public voices. Around 1511, the governor of Mecca banned coffee. He claimed it made people lazy, rebellious, and careless with religious duties. But beneath those accusations was a deeper fear. Coffee houses had become places where ordinary people could speak too freely. The ban did not kill coffee. It only proved how powerful the drink had become. When coffee later reached Europe, suspicion followed it. Some religious leaders called it the drink of the devil because it came from Muslim lands. But after Pope Clement VIII tasted it, the story says he approved it, and coffee entered Christian Europe with new confidence. Still, kings had their own fears. In England, King Charles II tried to close coffee houses because they were full of political talk and criticism. But people resisted, and the order did not last. Soon, European coffee houses became known as penny universities. For the price of one cup, people could hear news, debate science, discuss business, read papers, and imagine a different future. In London, coffee house culture helped shape institutions connected to insurance and finance. In France, thinkers discussed freedom and reason. Across Europe, coffee gave people a table, a room, and enough wakefulness to think together. But the same drink that helped people think soon became something empires wanted to control, because a beloved habit can quickly become a valuable business. As coffee spread, the question changed. It was no longer only who drinks it. It became who owns it, who grows it, who profits from it. Arab traders once tried to protect coffee by roasting the beans before sending them away, so the plants could not easily be grown elsewhere. But the secret could not stay hidden forever. In the 1600s, the Dutch obtained live coffee plants and began growing them in colonial lands. Later, the French carried coffee across the ocean. One famous story tells of Gabriel de Clio protecting a small coffee seedling on the way to Martinique, even sharing his own water with it. And from fragile plants came vast plantations. Coffee spread through Brazil, Colombia, Indonesia, Vietnam, and many other tropical regions. It created wealth, trade routes, and powerful markets. But it also carried a painful truth. Many people who planted, picked, dried, and carried coffee lived under harsh systems of forced labor, poverty, and inequality. The cup became beautiful in cafes, but difficult in the fields. That does not mean coffee is only a dark story. It means its history is human, bright, and painful at the same time. By the 1800s, Brazil had become a major coffee power. Later, factories made roasted and ground coffee easier to buy. Italy gave the world espresso. Instant coffee brought the drink to soldiers, workers, travelers, and busy homes. Coffee entered the modern age, and today Coffee connects farmers in the tropics with students, artists, office workers, and families around the world. From Sao Paulo to Saigon, it continues to move through daily life. And now the story returns to the morning cup. A person may sit with coffee and think it is only a drink. But inside that cup is a long road. Ethiopia, Yemen, Mecca, Europe, plantations, revolutions, factories, cafes, and modern life. Coffee is caffeine, yes, but it is also curiosity. It is trade. It is power. It is inequality. It is conversation. It is creativity. It is comfort. It is the human desire to stay awake in a world that often asks people to move too fast and think too little. And in the end, the story of coffee is the story of how human beings also notice, test, share, fear, control, and transform the small things around them. A red berry became a roasted seed. A roasted seed became a drink for prayer. A drink for prayer became a reason for people to gather. And those gatherings became places where ideas, news, business, politics, and dreams moved from one person to another. This is what makes coffee so powerful. It shows that civilization is not shaped only by kings, wars, borders, or great inventions. Sometimes, history changes through ordinary habits repeated by millions of people. A cup placed on a table can become a conversation. A conversation can become a new idea. A new idea can become a movement. And a movement can slowly change the world. But coffee also reminds us to look honestly at history. Its journey brought comfort, creativity, and connection. But it also passed through empire, forced labor, poverty, and inequality. This does not make the cup meaningless. It makes it more human. The deeper lesson is simple. Ordinary things are never truly ordinary when people learn to see them with curiosity. In daily life, this means slowing down before judging something as small or unimportant. A morning habit, a conversation, a question, a mistake, or a moment of curiosity can become the beginning of something meaningful. Coffee teaches that discovery often begins when someone pays attention. Growth begins when someone keeps learning. And wisdom begins when someone asks, "What is the story behind this?" So next time you drink coffee, maybe do not rush. Hold the cup for a moment. Think about the farmers, travelers, monks, workers, and dreamers behind it. Then ask yourself, what small thing in your life might be carrying a bigger story? What do you think coffee represents most? Energy, comfort, connection, or creativity? Please share your answer in the comments so everyone can learn from your point of view. And if this story helped you learn English through history in a calm and meaningful way, please subscribe to English Mindwave. Your support gives this channel more motivation to create the next thoughtful story for you.